an even longer run than we thought it would be into January. So and good for them for getting it done and figuring out a way to make it work and keep people as healthy as they could.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in one way ready for it to be over because I am going to miss the games and all that, but I think we're kind of at the point now with just 4 games remaining that, it's kind of time, I guess, when not having everybody involved. So it's been a long run, great run. I'm glad they got it in. I'm glad that everybody didn't panic and just say, oh my gosh, let's shut it down and not even try and not even attempt to do anything but sit in our homes and here you are. You've already gotten most of your state champions crowned, and now you'll crown the final few. But definitely been a great high school football run.
All right, so we're down to 4 games. Armstrong, do we have the updated standings for the week? We don't.
Hold on.
I can read them out to you if you want.
Well,
I can go find them.
Okay,
we don't have a graphic tonight.
That's okay. I have a 3-game lead with 4 games left.
So done.
And Craig and Grayson are tied.
So okay, you have to just pick opposite of him.
Yeah, basically.
That's your strategy.
Yeah, basically.
Don't just wait.
What is this, Doug Peterson?
Wait for him to put in his pick and just pick the opposite.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go first every game.
I think you should, because I think as the leader, you have to.
As the leader? Yeah. You mean not in the leading, like being a leader, like someone leading?
As the person in first place.
Well, that sucks.
You're required to go first.
So wait a minute.
I think that's fair.
You know what? Normally I might be on your side for this, but I've put up with this crap for now 11 years, so the hell with you.
Yeah.
All right, Team Craig.
So Craig.
Well, Grayson's tied.
Craig's going to do it.
But Grayson's turned his in. Mine are locked in. I'm not going to change mine.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, then.
Brian Etheridge is in, and so are Deontay and Dylan. And by the way, today's the 1-year anniversary of us losing Mike Chapman. Dylan's uncle.
That one just kind of, I knew it, and you said it again, and it still hurts me. It probably will for a long time. He's a great man.
So here we go. I'll go first. The other ones are locked in. Mine are locked in. I'm not going to change. The first game is Aledo and Crosby, and I'm taking Aledo.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, unless Crosby really pulls off the miracle season that they've had, I'll go Crosby just because, but, Aledo's going to win this game, in my opinion.
Paul?
I'll go Aledo.
You know what? This is going to screw me, though. I'm going to finish third in this thing because Grayson's not picking against Aledo.
Can I say something?
Does second mean anything?
No, let me say something. I don't know if Crosby pulls off the upset because it would be a shocking upset. It's not like they're 25-point underdogs. They're like a touchdown underdog. Here's what this game here, Aledo's a heavy favorite of all of them, and there's some others that are actually heavy. But the other 3 games, to me, if I was in your position or I was Grayson, and Grayson's are locked in, the other 3 could easily go any direction.
Yeah. No, I'm saying this game, though, is probably the most obvious, and so I'm imagining Grayson picked Aledo.
He picked Aledo.
So if I pick Crosby to get you, then I'm...
The strategy here would be for pick Aledo.
And then go the other 3.
For the other 3
and
to go for the tie. Go for the tie. Go for the tie.
But wait a minute. If Crosby has been on this run, who you want?
You still get your name on the trophy.
Yeah, I'll go Crosby. Screw it.
Listen, I like Craig being bold and not afraid of maybe not getting his dreams.
Because if Crosby wins, you're up on You're up on everybody. The only one
there
else
is that, but that is the smaller percentage of this.
Look, Craig's the guy who goes for 2 when he could go for overtime. He's going for 2.
All right.
But I go for it too early,
Craig's
and then I chase the extra point.
I love the attitude. I'm just trying to. The other 3 are all, I think, flip games. Here we go. Denton Ryan and Cedar Park, and I'm going to take Denton Ryan.
I'm going to take Cedar Park. Yeah. Going opposite.
I'll take Denton Ryan.
Cedar Hill and Katy, I'm taking Katy. And, hey, I'm opening up a door for you here.
Let's turn the horns loose, baby.
Cedar Hill.
Paul? I'm going to take Cedar Hill.
Yeah. We'll have Carlos Lynn, the head coach at Cedar Hill, tomorrow at 4:30. South Lake Carroll and Westlake, the battle of Todd and his son Riley.
You know what? That's what some people are calling it, but this is the battle of the 2 best quarterbacks in the state of Texas.
Quinn Ewers against Cade
Klubnik.
Okay, and Westlake opened the year up, remember, with that 56-0 win against Midway.
If you watch the game, because I assume it'll be on Fox Sports Southwest, I don't know why it wouldn't be, but
I believe so.
That South Lake Carroll Austin Westlake game, which will be the final high school football game in Texas this year, those are the two top QBs, or two of the top QBs, not in just Texas, but the entire country heading into next year. So yeah, watch Quinn Ewers and Cade Klubnik do their thing.
I'm taking Westlake.
Taking the Dragons, South Lake Carroll.
Paul?
I'll take Westlake.
All right, so there we go.
And if I were to go like I would normally go, I'd pick Aledo, probably pick Ryan, I might still pick Cedar Hill.
Yeah, I love Cedar Hill. Joey McGuire, obviously.
Yeah, but I'd probably pick Westlake. So I would have only had one difference if I went the way I normally would have gone.
South Lake Carroll against Trinity, against Duncanville, excuse me. They kind of stayed close, but they were behind the whole time, and then all of a sudden, pop, they took over the second half. And I mean, they physically dominated somebody that rarely gets physically dominated in Duncanville. And I'm not saying they blew them out, but they controlled most of the second half. And their running game is just – this Westlake team, and Jeff Hume told me this, and others have told me this as well, that this Westlake defense, they've always been known for throwing it around. Ellinger was there, among others. We know their history. But they are so good on defense. It'll be fun. I can't wait to watch everyone. Now, tomorrow's Aledo game will be it's a 1 o'clock kick. So we'll have it here in the studio at Sic'em365 Incorporated.
Yeah, that'll be good to have, a little bit of action. I'm looking at it now. Quinn Ewers, the number one player, committed to Ohio State, but I would bet good money that he'll end up at Texas before all is said and done. That's where he was committed, then decommitted because of Tom Herman just being kind of a dork, and then, committed to Ohio State. But now with Sarkisian, that's probably going to change back. But, yeah, he's a number one prospect in the entire country, or the entire state and the entire country, I believe, at one point, if not still that. So there you go with that. And then Klubnik, I think's, a top 100 guy as well. And there's plenty of other. I mean, Denton Ryan's got studs, obviously. They got a receiver, was it named Jatavian Sanders or whatever, going to Texas. It's really good. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of great players playing over the next few days. A lot of guys you'll be seeing in the Big 12 and beyond as well.
All right. Can I make a quick public service announcement at Technicalities? I want this just so that people know. Look, if one thing isn't working sometimes, like today we've had a little trouble with our video feed on the website, we always kind of have backup options. So kind of run down the list. Like if it's not working on the website, always check YouTube or Facebook Live. And, sometimes maybe we could get knocked out of all three, but we are up on YouTube, so if you're trying to watch and you didn't see us, just pull us on YouTube and you can watch us there, and that feed is working correct. Anything I'm leaving out, Armstrong, that people can do?
No, that's right. And then if we're not on the video, then you can find us on audio on the app. Yeah. And always know that for the most part, almost 100% of the time, we are aware of the problem when we're trying to fix it.
But if you see something, please let us know, because on occasion we may not know.
Yeah.
So, but because you're monitoring always everything. You got the brainchild over there with that, and of course with Jacariah and Mackenzie.
Jacariah.
Yeah. He doesn't like that, and I can tell like immediately he's gone south on me. Jack used to be like the only person that ever said thank you to me in the studio.
He prefers
and he's now gone south on me.
He likes Jacariah better than he likes Jack the intern.
Did we say that to him?
On Up Tempo, they started calling him Jack the intern.
They're too young to call anybody.
Hold on. You know what? I told Drake I would never come on his show for any reason, but I do think I might need to just to address this. Like, you can't. Like, who's Drake? Drake's 11. Yeah. I mean, he's the Doogie Howser of sports radio.
Drake is 3 years younger than Jacariah.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jacariah. Here is the actual standings.
Okay, here are the standings.
Okay,
there we are. There's 4 games left, and so here we go. We'll see what happens. Craig's going to either end up in first, right?
Yeah, or third.
Or you're going to finish
in third. Well, I mean, maybe not. If it splits, it doesn't really matter.
There's a chance
first, second, or third.
Yeah, first, second, or third. So you have a chance.
It's got first or nothing. That's right.
Well, here's the deal, and we've seen this on the PGA
first or
Tour.
last, baby.
You have a par 5, and you know this for a fact. Armstrong, because you play a little bit, you have a par 5, and you probably know you cannot reach the green in 2, but an eagle is the only way you win the tournament.
Oh, yeah. You have to.
You will lose credibility, manhood points if you don't pull it. And women play the game too. You have to pull out the big stick and try to hit the green too, unless it's just physically, absolutely, weather conditions impossible.
Yeah, I'm going for the win. Gonna finish. I'd finish with a medal if this were the Olympics. So that's my consolation prize. But I'd rather have the gold than anything else. So we'll see what happens.
On the par 5, you could also lay up and still knock it in on your third shot to get an eagle. But you know what I mean. If you're in that range where you probably can reach the green, but there's a little bit dicey and you don't, you'll be some murmurs. Yeah. So good for Craig. Although I hate that because Crosby. I'm telling you, of all the games on Jerry Forrest and the pigskinprep.com, they're not much of an underdog. It's not much of an underdog. I think that I'm not so sure who's the heaviest favorite this weekend.
I would think it'd have to be Alito. But one thing before we move on along, thanks to Scotty B for sending this along. But Baylor women's tennis, they have their season opening matches versus Prairie View A&M starting at 11 a.m. They also play at 3:30 on Saturday. For anybody that was looking to go attend those matchups, they will now be played at the Herd Tennis Center outdoors. So
which means the weather's great, huh?
Yeah, so that will be an outdoors contest, Herd Tennis Center, 11 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. on Saturday. Baylor women's tennis versus Prairie View.
So on pigskinprep.com, Westlake is actually a 15-point pick against South Lake Carroll. Cedar Hill's a 10-point underdog against Katy. And in 5A, Denton Ryan's a 3-point pick over Cedar Park, and Alito's an 8-point favorite against Crosby. So of all the games, that's the second, according to this, and he does an incredible job with these projections.
Well, hey, shout out to Deontay and Dylan and Brian and everybody else that's played and is new playing this year. Deontay finishing 100 games above 500. Same with Dylan. I mean, that's very respectable. Did a great job, and I hope those guys continue to play. I know Grayson will. Grayson loves this, so he'll definitely be back next season, but hopefully Dylan and Deontay are as well.
All right, so when we come back, one of those games we mentioned, South Lake Carroll and Austin Westlake, we opened up the week with Todd Dodge, Westlake head football coach, who used to be at South. You know the stories. I mean, they're all there. Dodge won a state title at South Lake Carroll. His son was the quarterback. His son was the ball boy at Westlake back in the 90s, when Drew Brees and Westlake won a state championship. I think it's his father-in-law, Coach Dodge's father-in-law's name's on the stadium, which is the grandfather of Riley Dodge, right? Etheridge. And so all of these tie-ins, and they were supposed to open the year this year until the pandemic pushed everything back, and they said, what the hell, maybe we'll meet for a state title. A lot of people saw North Shore and Duncanville getting in the way, and they almost did, but both of them beat those two to get to where they are to be in the state championship game. We've heard from Todd Dodge, Riley Dodge, who missed last week's game because he had COVID. How's he feeling? What's it been like? He's next on SicEm365 Radio.
2020 made you tough. Now get a tough SUV to match. There's a reason Alan Samuels has been a Customer First Excellence Award winner for 3 consecutive years. Stop by and check out their friendly, courteous sales staff, world-class facility, and top-ranked Jeep inventory. Get $6,750 in values on a new Jeep Renegade or $4,000 in total values on the new Tough as Nails Jeep Gladiator Sport and Oberlin. Experience firsthand the Start Something New sales event at Alan Samuels and check them out at AlanSamuelsDCJ.com. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army radiologists. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'Em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
Riley Dodge, head football coach of South Lake Carroll state championship game against Westlake. He was a ball boy there. He was a quarterback at South Lake Carroll. Everybody knows the story when his father won a state championship, and now they meet coming up Saturday night. What was it like, first of all, to not be at the game, to watch that game, watch your team perform, and take you to a state championship when you couldn't be at the game?
You know, David, it's probably the worst 4 hours of my life and the best 4 hours of my life, all balled into one. A lot of emotions, obviously super difficult. Not to be there on the sideline, be there with my guys and my coaching staff, and but man, it's just a testament to our kids, our coaches, our program, and what we feel like we've built the last 3 years, that we're able to go out there and win a big time semifinal game versus the Duncanville football team that probably a lot of people, and understandably, didn't think we could probably get the job done, and without me on the sideline, we found a way to go win a big-time football game and punch our ticket. So very weird experience, very weird week, and but very proud of our coaching staff and this entire program.
Well, I got to ask you, how do you feel? Are you okay?
Yeah, I feel great. Ready to rock and roll, back at work, and, ready to go compete one more time.
Would you have allowed somebody to record you while you watched that game, especially when the game, from start to finish, but especially at the end? Would that not have been, you could sell that on HBO or something?
Yeah, that's been the kind of joke in the office and at our house. I got an opportunity to watch the game by myself, no one around. I didn't need anybody around me, so everybody cleared the house and let me have my 4 hours of pain and enjoyment by myself. But what the joke was, if there was some hidden cameras on me, I think if they got out and leaked out, it'd probably make a lot of money. It was pretty comical, probably.
Everything ties in together. You at Westlake as a ball boy, him at South Lake Carroll when you were the quarterback, all of these, you were supposed to play early in the year, but now this is the best time to play because it's a state championship. What's the week been so far, just halfway through the week?
I think first of all, on the front end, when when we won that big-time ball game, and they did too against North Shore. I mean, wow, a lot of emotions, Obviously, we're going to play for state championship. And then on top of it hits you that, you're going to compete against your father, your best friend, your mentor. And then on top of it, man, my entire family just so connected with both of these programs for so many years. Obviously, it goes back to my grandfather, Abby Neptune, and the longtime AD and head football coach at Austin Westlake. My mom's from Westlake. My aunt's from Westlake. So many ties. I just, remember being on the sideline and being a ball boy for those late 90 Westlake teams when my dad's football teams weren't in the playoffs. We'd be at Austin Westlake games and on the sideline wearing red and blue and, rooting for the Chaparrals, rooting for my grandfather. And, just very, very surreal. A lot of just the stars really, truly had to align for this to happen. But two great programs, matching up for a big-time football game.
I spoke about the coaching search when South Lake Carroll was looking for a new coach, and I believe I was told the story that they did everything they could not to hire you because they were concerned about your age. And I know you've heard that before. Everybody has to start somewhere, but that you were just the one that just popped out, and it was just something that was the right fit. Did that motivate you when you heard that? And is that something that you kind of have to you kind of have a chip on your shoulder with that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, obviously you hear the kind of chirps behind the scenes, and that's fine. It's just when you get these opportunities, you got to go prove yourself. And I felt like that my entire career. As a high school football player, as a college football player, as a young coach at GA and QC and Texas and A&M, and get opportunities as a coordinator, and then getting a head job at a young age, and on top of getting a head job at a young age at a storied program in your hometown and a place that you played at. And, I definitely got a chip on my shoulder. I think it's just my makeup. I think that's just how I'm built. That's how I prepare. That's how I competed as a player. And I don't think that's something that goes away. I think a lot of people, coaches and players included, I don't think if you have that edge or that chip on your shoulder, I don't know if you can really call yourself a competitor, but, I definitely have that in the back of my mind all the time.
When did it hit you? Was it after you finished off your win against Duncanville that, okay, now here comes the game that everyone's wanted?
It truly was. To be honest with you, when you play in 6A Division I, and especially when you're coming out of the Metroplex, if you look ahead at all, you ain't going to go very far. Mm-hmm. And we've played Odessa Permian, we've played Arlington Martin, we've played Euless Trinity, we've played Duncanville. We've earned our right to be where we're at. And I think if you look ahead at all, that's a bad recipe, poor recipe for success. I did not really look at it until, obviously, going into the Duncanville game, you get the job done. Obviously, Westlake got to get the job done too, versus two very good football teams who played for the state championship the last 2 years against each other. We had two tall tasks, but we'll cross that bridge once this ball game's over with. But very, very crazy once the ball game was over.
Your son told your father that he was gonna dye his hair, right? And we beat Duncanville. We're gonna beat Austin Westlake. How fun was that exchange?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I gave my wife a hard time, and she made the proclamation. She made the bet. My son wanted to. He's 5, almost 6, and he wanted to bleach his hair if we beat Duncanville. He knows, he's pretty aware that we haven't beaten Duncanville the last 2 years. That's been the speed bump over here. And he asked my wife if he could bleach his hair if we beat Duncanville, and she said, "I will let you bleach your hair if we beat Duncanville." So my little 5-year-old's got bleached blonde hair right now.
Ronnie, what does this mean to you? Obviously, the family, it's going to be talked about throughout the week, all day Saturday and Saturday night throughout the broadcast. What does this mean to you to be in this championship moment?
It means everything. It means everything to this program. We haven't been here since 2011. We played in a lot of them. We won a lot of them. And it's a big week for our program, getting into the state championship and then, preparing to go win one. And means everything to our kids, means everything to this town. For me, it's easy for me to cancel out the noise. We're here to get a job done. To me, to be honest with you, it has nothing to do with my dad or or competing against them. I think it's a great storyline. It's very, very cool, obviously. But we're here to get a job done, and I think he would say the same thing.
Because you've played so competitively at all the levels you have, will you be able to separate that when you get into the warm-up, into the kickoff, into the game? You separate that it's no different than playing Duncanville or Allen or Trinity or anyone else?
Yeah, I think you have to. I think as the head football coach and me being a play caller, you have to be even keel. You have to set your emotions to the side. You got to play the game and chip away and be aggressive at the same time. But you can't let your emotions set in. If you let your emotions take over, then you put your team and your group on the sideline in a bad spot.
Riley Dodge, head football coach at South Lake Carroll. Westlake Saturday night for the 6A Division I state title on SicEm365 Radio.
All right, thank you to Riley Dodge, Todd Dodge, also tomorrow Carlos Lynn of Cedar Hill, and thanks to Gary Joseph of Katy. We've been able to pop a lot of the coaches and some of the others that are part of the state championship weekend. And Urban Meyer is now official as the head football coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is such a lure, isn't it, that you just can't sometimes pass up what is the golden nugget in the sky at the highest level of the NFL.
Well, he put his name out there last year for NFL jobs. I mean, he kind of threw it out for he did an interview with Colin Cowherd and was like, yeah, for the Cowboys job, I'd throw my name out there. And that was never really a real thing, but he kind of let people know that if he's coming back, it's probably the NFL. And now he's got a team with the number one pick. He is, like we said earlier in the show, there's not many people in college, just one guy who's better than him, and that's Nick Saban. And so now he's going to try that next challenge. And I think he'll be a pretty effective NFL coach.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about, long-term outlook, but the Jacksonville fan base is getting shaken up in a good way, at least to start things off with. You got the number one pick, you got 10 draft picks overall, and you got control of the entire draft at this point. So yeah, it seems obvious that it'll be Trevor Lawrence. You threw out the idea during the break of maybe they try to package the number one pick, but that's Trevor Lawrence. There are teams tanking to try to get him. So if you need a quarterback, and Jacksonville does, this is like, if you're a Jacksonville fan, you go into the offseason, you got the number one overall pick, and you just hired Urban Meyer. Like, what else could they do to get you more excited for next season or about the future? And I know that Steve Spurrier didn't work out, and Nick Saban didn't work out, and there have been a ton of college guys that didn't work out. But, we'll see. We'll see with Urban Meyer. He's been doing his research for a long time now. The NFL's not just something he's stumbled into. He's been thinking about it for a very, very long time. So he's done his due diligence, and you know what? Maybe he's ready to just start right out of the gates.
And I think that Nick Saban didn't work out because Nick Saban didn't want to.
Probably.
I think he probably could have won, but I think that he got in the NFL, and he likes being a college coach.
Well, and Nick Saban's not the Nick Saban we're thinking of these days back then. That was fresh off of LSU. Yeah, he was a really good coach, but he was the former Michigan State guy who went to LSU and won a title. He was not the Nick Saban we think of now, because he's won like 7 national titles since then in Alabama. So, just a little bit different. But no, Urban's the big name. They certainly got the big name.
The thing about him, no matter his history, no matter things he's been attached to, no matter the championships, he will win. The question is if things don't go well early. And I think he's kind of good enough to be able to turn. In the NFL, we've seen teams go from crazy bad to in the middle of the mix. Is how long is he going to be there? Because that's kind of his MO. Just like I mentioned with Jimmy Johnson. He left the Cowboys as elite as they could possibly be. And left Miami as elite as they possibly. He just gets some guys after 4 or 5 years are okay. So I like the fact he's in Jacksonville. If there's a couple of teams, like I would not, as a lifelong Washington fan, if he took over the Cowboys, oh my God.
Yeah.
I would have been torn.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
I'm, dealing with, not to make light of it, but like PTSD somewhat from the Redskins and Spurrier and how great that seemed at the time and turned out to be a total disaster. What Urban cannot do is go in and start drafting all of his former players like Steve Spurrier did. Because Steve Spurrier, if I remember correctly, he went and signed or drafted like a handful of Florida guys, and I don't think any of them ended up being any good. So I know that there's familiarity, but you got to be, obviously of a different mindset. This is the NFL. It's a whole different ball game. And I'm sure Urban Meyer's smart enough to know that. He's not going to walk in and just draft a bunch of Ohio State guys. But at the same time, if he did, it wouldn't be the wrong move necessarily.
No, and look, you know about the cons more than anybody, Craig, of all of us here. But they've shown, look, they stuck with Doug Marrone for a while. They're not the Browns where it's like, oh, this didn't work, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, are the players good? Like, they gave Doug Marrone every shot to improve that team, and they got worse, so they had to move on. So I don't know how good owners that they are. I just know that now, I mean, they're not going to – Urban Meyer will leave there before they fire him, I mean, based on his history, and he'll probably leave there successful.
Well, I mean, they're never going to run out of money based on, what I know about that family. They're set for life and many lifetimes over. But, this is a big investment on their part, so I'd imagine he's going to get a lot of time to, and I'm sure that a lot of their conversations were about like, hey, man, you left Ohio State rather abruptly, or you left in the midst of this, or you left Florida abruptly. You had heart issues. You had this, you had that. So I'm sure that if they're smart and the cons are smart, then they ask those questions. And at the same time, even if Urban's telling you the right things, you got to wonder how much of it's true. I mean, that is
you're right.
That is something about him. But I mean, again, you got DJ Chark, Paul, who else? James Robinson. Mm-hmm. You've got a couple pretty good players already that you can throw in there with Trevor Lawrence and a lot of draft picks. So we'll see.
Marquise Lee will be back next year.
Yeah.
So
they have 4 of the top 45 picks. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and the number 1 pick overall.
Yeah.
All right. Florida now has Bruce Arians, who's done a really nice job in Tampa. Mm-hmm. He got Brian Flores, who did a really nice job in Miami. Mm-hmm. And now they have Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. That's pretty good.
And look, Jacksonville, that's one of those markets, too, that's good for Urban Meyer, like his personality. And that's the only thing going on. When he was in Columbus, that's the only thing going on. When he's in Gainesville, that's the only thing going on. And, of course, a lot of those Gainesville fans will be thrilled that 90 miles up the road is Urban Meyer, the last guy who won anything of note at that school. So
yeah, just Richard Deitch put that Urban Meyer clearly likes AEW more than WWE because the Khan family owns All Elite Wrestling, which is WWE's competitor. So that's why he made that's a good little wrestling nerd joke. But I like that tweet from Dave Miller too, and that's interesting.
This one here, it says trying to keep an open mind about NFL Herb, but I keep coming back to this. An 11-5 season is pretty good in the NFL. The last time Meyer lost 5 games in 1 year, it happened one time, 2010 at Florida, his last year at Gainesville. Every coach hates to lose. This guy despises it. And you know what? There is a difference. You're right. I'm 11-5. All of us would love our team to go 11-5.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd say, though, is, in college, you lose 1 game at Ohio State. You probably still have a chance to play for a title. You lose 2, you're pretty much done. Jacksonville, you can lose 6 or 7 and still be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So there is that as well. But, another tweet that I just saw just randomly looking at your screen there was about how many college coaches may start looking at the league because of just all of the things going on in the NCAA. Lincoln Riley's talked about a whole lot. And I'm sure there's others that I'm not thinking of at the moment that have been rumored to possibly jump to the NFL. But maybe Urban starts something.
There's something about the lure. Jimmy did it.
Well, I think you don't have to recruit.
And did well.
Nick
Saban did it, and he kind of
Matt Rule.
Yeah, listen, it's been. I bet this has been the longest year ever for him, even maybe longer than 1-11, because of the fact that the year itself, just the year itself, making the decision to go to the NFL. No matter how much money you make, and that's he makes $8 million a year, $7 million a year, whatever they're going to give Urban Meyer. If it's $8 or $10 million a year. Man, it still doesn't mean even though you can pay for anything you want 100 times over. You and I, we were talking about a car payment, about you want to pay an extra $100 a month just to work on the principal, whatever. You never have to worry about that, right?
No,
but you still are you winning when it comes to your career as a football coach?
Yeah, and it is the allure. I think that he's probably in that mold of Pete Carroll and Jimmy Johnson and. The guys that have gone to the NFL just because he's that kind of driven. And, it's not going to, I don't think it's going to take him long to try. I don't think it really takes, when you have the right people in place in the NFL, it can take 2 years and all of a sudden you're good again.
Well, that's a pretty junk division too, right? I mean, because Colts are pretty good. Texans and
Colts, Texans, Jaguars, and who are we leaving out?
Who are we leaving out?
Here's Albert Breer. One interesting twist. Meyer and ex-Falcons coach Dan Quinn had discussed him coming aboard as a Jacksonville defensive coordinator. Jerry and company were able to.
Yeah, well, Titans. Dan worked for him.
Exactly.
In Florida for a year. So.
Yeah, the Titans are pretty good. So I mean, that division's not pushover, but it's not like there's the Patriots of the last 15 years that are sitting on top of it, and I'm sure that came into consideration for him as well. Look, if you're Jacksonville, who are you going to hire that's going to make more of a wave? And you don't hire people just to make waves. That's what Texas used to do. That got them in trouble all the time. But if you're Jacksonville, you've made waves, and I mean, who else are you going to go get that's really going to be better? Some retread NFL assistant coach. I know maybe you go the new way and you go grab an Eric Bieniemy, but I don't know what his interest level would have been. And, somebody's eventually going to have to go and grab him. But I think it's interesting. It's got me interested to see what Jacksonville does now, and I didn't really care before.
There's also the 5 or 6 general manager positions. Carolina, are they going with Fitterer? He's a pretty good tennis player. Yeah. And he's the guy in San Francisco. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was late in the process. So
Washington's still looking for theirs.
I'll tell you this. I just based on my personal thing, if you asked me if I could stop recruiting and go be a professional head coach, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Say that again.
If you asked me if it was me, if it was like, do you want to go to Texas or you want to go to Jacksonville? Mm-hmm. And knowing that, Texas has all the money in the world and they'll support me, to a certain, especially if I'm Urban Meyer, I would say, look, I've done it too many times, Utah, Bowling Green, all that stuff. I'm at a point in my life, I don't want to have to constantly worry about the whims of a 16-year-old kid. I'm all ready, and I'll deal with the.
I'll pick him in 4 years when he's matured and ready to play in the NFL.
Yeah. But now you're dealing with guys who are professionals who are making so much money, and there are the Antonio Browns.
I'd rather have that problem than because the thing is like you have.
But you're not okay.
You have one Antonio Brown every couple of years.
You're not going to get 15 to 20 first-round picks every year in recruting.
No, you're not. Yeah, you're not. No,
which is what he got at Florida, right?
But what I'm saying is, but what I'm saying is, you get one Antonio Brown or one Terrell Owens every few years. Most of the guys are pros. I think like most of the guys are professionals. They handle themselves professionally.
Top 5 at 5.
Yeah.
And then we also have the video of Blake Blackmore we have to get to as well. Here's Paul's 5.
All right, Paul Catalina's top 5 at 555. Top 5 best available NFL head coaching jobs. Now that Urban Meyer has taken the Jaguars, which wasn't one of my 5 really, other than the fact they had the number 1 pick. Number 1, the Chargers. Justin Herbert.
Yep.
Budding superstar. They've got some weapons on offense already. Their defense isn't really all that bad. They just need some direction. Anthony Lynn made some bad choices when it came to late games. So Chargers number 1. Number 2, this might surprise some people, but I think the Falcons, even if you get rid of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and you kind of reboot, you've got assets, plus Arthur Blank, one of the best owners in all of sports. So you've got a good owner there, and he'll give you a lot. I mean, Dan Quinn got a good run, and then he just it was time to move on. Number 3, and I know this sounds weird right now, but the Lions.
I forgot they existed.
Here's why I think the Lions is the 3rd best job of the ones available. It probably doesn't make much sense to say this, but because of that guy on the screen right there, Matthew Stafford, a tradable asset, you're going to have new head coach, new GM, all of that stuff, and you can get something for Matthew Stafford, or if you decide to go full tilt and build around him, he's still a really good quarterback.
Okay.
Number 4, the Texans. Should be better given the fact that one of the best quarterbacks in the league is on there, but a terrible ownership situation right now. Cal McNair does not seem to know what he's doing.
They're giving Daniel Snyder a run for his money, aren't they?
Cal McNair doesn't seem to know what's going on. His dad, Bob, was much better at this, and Cal seems to have not figured it out yet.
Okay.
And number 5, the Jets. Mims is there, Denzel Mims. That's great and maybe they keep Sam Darnold. It's just always been a mess.
No one's taking the job with the Jets because Denzel Mims is there.
But the reason you take it as a 2nd pick, it's in New York, but I don't know. Woody Johnson and that ownership group there really, they upset me.
Dude, I don't know how you even come close to being that dysfunctional for this long a stretch of time. It's truly amazing how just god-awful the Jets are and everything that they do. But, yeah, I mean, even the Darnold pick a few years ago, I thought that was going to be pull for Matt Rule to go there. And instead, I mean, he goes to Carolina, and they're probably going to replace Darnold. So weird deal. And then, after watching Justin Fields' national title game, I'm not sold on him being some, great guy picking number 2 overall. But, there's a lot of ways they can go.
We got to thank a lot of people. But before we do, I saw this last night. There was, I forgot what it was, Brian Etheridge and his ever-loving food junkie, cooking, smoker, sous chef. We're going to have that cook-off, right, in March?
Yeah, the March Meat-a-thon.
And Blake Blackmar, former Baylor offensive lineman, also part of the Bears for a little bit. So he then starts showing this video. Is that shamu or is that a side of beef?
I mean,
that looks like it could be a whale blubber. I mean, but I'm not talking about there's beautiful meat. So that's Blake Blackmar cutting what may be the largest brisket I've ever seen in my life.
Whale blubber.
I asked him, so that's coming in March, right? We're going to have that. Patrick Lawrence, who is right above us, he's going to be coming in. And then there's some other people starting to chip in. Hey, I want a part of that.
Yeah.
Is Brian Etheridge ready for this?
I have faith in Brian Etheridge. Brian's going to need a good second because Patrick Lawrence is there for Blackmar. So you got to have a second, like if you're in a joust.
Yeah.
You ever see that?
Sous chef.
Yeah, what was that movie with Heath Ledger? The Knight's Tale.
Yeah,
you got to have a second. Somebody's got to hand you your jousting stick.
Man.
The Knight's Tale. Rest in peace, Heath Ledger. Yeah. I loved you, man. He was a great actor.
Our guest today, he was the Joker, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Zach Smith, Tulsa quarterback, headed to the NFL. Seth McKinney, who was a young kid at A&M when Jeff Grimes was there. Max Olson, SFA's Ryan Ivey on the start of the new WAC. With Tarleton State and Billy Gillespie already a part of that conference, and now Lamar, Abilene Christian, SFA, and Sam. Mickey Spagnola, Alvin Brooks on Baylor men's basketball, Art Strickland of the PGA Tour, and Riley Dodge of South Lake Carroll. And special thanks to Blake Blackmar in that upcoming cook-off sometime in March. All right, back at it again tomorrow. I'll tell you this right now, barring something that changes, the great Dick Vitale will open up our show tomorrow just after 3 o'clock, so we look forward to that. Look forward to having you as a part of the audience again. Appreciate Paul Catalina. Thanks to Craig Smoak. Also, Jack McKenzie, Armstrong Sims.
And tomorrow will be episode 200.
It is episode 200 of this show from 3 until 6 on SicEm365 Radio that launched on April the 6th. Hard to imagine. I'm David Smoak for all of our incredible sponsors. Thank you for listening and watching whenever you do, however long it might be. And good night on SicEm365 Radio. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.